Brodes Media.
I was doing a lot of thinking. I saw the reaction from the outside, meaning not Kansas City, not Philadelphia. The second the world saw the matchup, there was a big sigh. Because there's fatigue when you're the Chiefs going for the third straight. And the Eagles, people don't like. And now they're in there 2 out of 3 years, and dating back to 2017 as well. They are very active at this time of the year. The problem, though, is there's not enough hardware to show for it. So when I look at this game in particular, they need it. And I know you may think, well, no shit, Brodes. You gotta execute. It's so difficult to get here. When you're here, it's time to lock in and get the job done. I get that. But they need this because this is a separator. This now puts this era of Eagles football in a tier above where they are now. Hear me out. Buffalo, Baltimore, they're respected. They win a bunch every single regular season. The problem is when it's the playoffs, they're getting blocked by Pat Mahomes. So if this continues and Josh Allen is constantly losing in an AFC championship game, if Lamar Jackson gets one Super Bowl appearance, loses, and that's all, and the rest is early playoff exit, you view that a certain type of way. It's underwhelming. You got to cash in if you're the Birds getting here frequently, because then you have a similar narrative about you. It's just one step ahead of the teams that aren't getting the Super Bowl berth, which is a big deal to get that separator. But I want to add us to another separate portion of this list. I want to be a team that gets to the bowl and wins 2 out of 3 Super Bowl appearances dating back to 17. That's where I need this number to be. Going 1 of 3 kind of makes me sick. And I'm saying this with pure belief in my guys. I think the Eagles are winning the Super Bowl. I got Nick Sirianni having his media availability on Tuesday saying he's looking back at the notes from the previous Super Bowl where they lost, and he's already discussing how things are going to change, what he's going to do, how he's going to attack. Back to work, baby. He's preparing, and I actually think I know exactly where we may see a difference. As soon as they fell to the Chiefs after having the double-digit lead, it was all about the 4th and 3 punt in the fourth quarter with just under 11 minutes to go. The Eagles were down. They were at their own 32-yard line. It was 4th and 3. They punted away, and Tony takes it down to the goal line. And within seconds, Pat Mahomes, Kansas City, they score a monster touchdown. I watched against a Commanders team, 4th and 5, right before half. Jaden Daniels had the ball. It was 14-12. They missed a 2-point conversion. The next time he touched the football, they were down by, 15, 14. The Birds ended up punching a few in. But the reason that all started is because of Nick Sirianni's balls on 4th and 5 and a beautiful throw by Jalen Hurts to A.J. Brown on that unbelievable play down the left sideline. That changed the game. I still think the Eagles would have won anyway, but when you have a chance to change the game, how are you going to make that decision in the moment? Against the Commanders, he knocked it out of the park. The last Super Bowl, he didn't. And the weird part is this team, I'd say, they actually became less foot on the gas, no? How many times did you see on a 3rd and long them play for the punt? And I get it, your defense is the best defense in the league, so you're going to trust it, and you're going to have faith in them at the end, and you can win through Vic Fangio and his style. You've seen it happen, and Jalen doesn't want to turn the rock over. There were times they weren't uber aggressive, and they played more cautious, but I guess it depends on how you look at it, because they don't look at it being cautious if you're putting out your defense. You're saying that's our strength. We attack with our defense. We turn the football over. We're just not being aggressive offensively. We're being aggressive defensively, but he's still aggressive. That's probably how Nick Sirianni internalizes it with his guys and with his staff. You need to make sure if that moment happens again, Nick Sirianni pushes the right button in the bowl, and it helped you pull away in that NFC Championship game right before half when you were getting the ball back. The problem is their first drive in the third quarter wasn't anything special. There's a couple possessions getting traded back and forth there. I just think it's super important to get this Super Bowl, kind of to go back to how I started the show off, to get this Super Bowl, because if you were to look at 17, 22, and 24, when it's 15 years from now, and you look back at this era with Howie Roseman and his outstanding drafts, we'll get to his last 4 drafts in a moment here. If you were to have 2 Super Bowl wins in that span with 3 appearances, I can't tell you enough how much different that is than losing 2 straight following Doug Peterson. With plenty of time with Jalen and Nick, so who knows what transpires over the next 3-4 years as a duo. At this rate, I believe they're going to constantly be there because all they do is win. But as of this point, getting that second instead of only having 1. Then it's the Bills. And you see a documentary on Netflix about how many times they've gotten to the dance, but they're heartbroken yet again, and they can never get over the hump. I don't want that to start being the target. No. We are winners. This franchise is real. Jeffrey Lurie is a stud of an owner, except for if he starts to buy any of that Boston Celtics crap. I don't like it. If we're going to praise Lurie for being a Philly guy, even though I'm aware of his previous spots of living, I get it. I understand the Bostonian part of it. But if we rip Joshua Harris nonstop, you can't buy Boston Celtics. I mean, you can't own the Eagles and the Boston Celtics and act like you're a Philly guy. It's tongue-in-cheek, but that's my initial thought to the Jeffrey Lurie thing. Maybe I could be swayed, and now is definitely not the time to dive deep into that. But I'm just letting you know my way too early thoughts on the Bill Simmons report was something along those lines. The task at hand. Howie Roseman needs that second because his ability to draft, winning that second one for his offseason, All-Pro, Zach Baun, Nolan Smith, is like fucking disgusting good, right? It's not as if he's doing okay, you know? He was underwhelming early on, and it would be incredible for someone that young early in his career to struggle and then have an okay season after that. It's a difficult thing to do, and it would be great, and it would show signs. This guy is taking over playoff runs. That's what Nolan Smith is doing right now. His impact is wow, good. Not just good. Whoa. So you have Nolan Smith and Jalen Carter. And Carter is like that too. He does the same thing. That's why this defense is scary. That's why this defense is filthy. What sucks, though, is looking at Vic Fangio's stats against Pat Mahomes in his career. Yes, 0-8. And Pat Mahomes has 10 tutties and 2 interceptions. Here's the difference, though. I don't give a damn what he had in previous stops in his career. Denver, any other AFC stop, Miami. I don't care. Because they didn't have the guys I just mentioned. They didn't have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. That toe-tapping catch, there's a still frame that's trending right now of him, and you can see the green grass behind his right foot there. What was his left? Okay, it was the left side of the sideline. I'm just trying to turn my body as if I'm Devontae Smith, which at times I feel in the backyard with my 1-year-old, I can be. Should see my ability out there. Bush, I still got it. The fact that that wasn't out of bounds, that doesn't happen. His technique is otherworldly. And I love hearing from A.J. Brown this week about when he first got here. He knew this group was different because, well, him and Jalen were up at 5 a.m. getting after it, and he didn't know Devontae that well then, but once he saw Devontae join as well and he started doing it, I'm telling you, this group is rare. And this is the same team that you also heard AJ say, yeah, guess what? When things got tough, we had some really difficult and uncomfortable talks. But you can only power through if your leadership is proper. Normally, when something like that happens, it can get pretty ugly. It can get pretty rough. It can get unbearable and to the point where you can't come together for the common goal anymore. So the fact that after last offseason or last regular season happened, and then now you're here and you're dealing with stuff through the first 5 weeks and you're getting uncomfortable and looking at each other's eyes like, come on, man. You know, probably people felt certain type of ways. And then they use that to all get on the same path and there not be friction to the point where it breaks. That's important. That says a lot about how Nick Sirianni has everybody so open to just being connected. The way this makeup is, so strong. And then you add a Saquon.